Hey everyone, so we're one day away from the head start of Lost Ark Russian OBT, and we've got some new interesting info from community manager on Russian forums that I decided to share with you while there's still time. We'll cover multiple topics in this video. I'll leave a timecode for you guys in the video description. Starting off with the simple stuff, first of all, English patch is already out, I will link it below, and I also recommend joining community Discord to stay up to date on that. Second, most of big Russian guilds decided to go for Kratos server, while EU and NA community in the Discord decided to go for Syrian server. Alright, so let's get to the core topics of today's video. Shortly after the presentation that my previous video was about, on October 17th, one of the community members on official Russian forums named Ini Narisnitsych have posted a thread named Lost Content Online with complaints about the things we heard during the presentation. I'll leave a link to that down below if you want to Google translate the whole thing, but the key theme of the post was because of all the changes there won't be enough content, and the content that is there lacks the motivation behind it, like there's no reason to do some of the stuff people did on Korea. He complained that daily activities would include free chaos dungeons, free guardian raids, free dailies, cube, and that's it. After that point you pretty much have to spam arena. He said that while removal of pirate set is understandable, he couldn't agree with removal of a lot of rewards from Hearts of Islands, Mokokos and so on. He particularly noticed the removal of crystals from rewards, said that remove an item level from accessories makes guardians pointless, and said that Russian system will have heavy accuracy bottleneck as far as gear progression goes due to all of the changes. Affinity system in his opinion would also become useless since rewards were changed. The thread has gotten more than 20k views and 500 posts under it by now. 4 days later, on October 21st, this thread was finally addressed by a community manager. I'll highlight the parts I'm talking about on the screen and walk you through this response. She said that the main goal of this response is to address all of the questions and worries players might have, as well as show what exactly changed compared to Korean version. From her point of view, main community worries are situations where nerfed rewards are just not worth doing an activity, such as collecting Mokokos, Giant's Hearts and so on, removal of crystal rewards for said activities, nerfed guardians that are too weak, removal of item level from accessories, case dungeon gear rework, NPC affinity rework, and character progression tempo. She then starts addressing these topics top-down, starting with so-called exploration content. She said that these changes were made to try and find a balance between player motivation, value of content itself, and value of rewards for it. She also said that they tried to make this type of content more reactive than your typical questline, and I for one don't really understand what reactive means here. Starting with the adventure book, it's a book of all the quests, activities, exploration points, spyglasses, as well as some hidden stuff. In their opinion, main focus of adventure book sums up in 3 points. 1. Stat and skill point potions, high value but also easily accessible because they don't require a huge time investment. 2. NPC affinity gifts, there will be 39 NPCs on OBT that you can have a relationship with, each with their own quests and rewards varying from feathers and runes to crystals and Hearts of Island. Most of high time investment parts of adventure book contain NPC affinity gifts that give big affinity boosts. And 3. Feathers, masterpieces and giant hearts. As you can see, instead of addressing people's concerns, she just listed what adventure book does and what most of us already know, without really going into any considerable detail and why the changes were made, so it's basically just a non-answer as far as adventure book is concerned. Next up, Hearts of Island. She agreed that original thread kind of had the point that exploring islands will be a lot less rewarding in Russia compared to Korea, making ocean content very self-targeted with rewards mostly influencing only ocean content itself. She then claimed that all of these changes are Smilegate's decision, said that Smilegate's vision for this content is that it's aimed at people who like exploring islands just to explore islands, and mentioned that my games will be open to user feedback on this topic, and depending on player interest they might request better rewards for this content piece later. She then provided comparison screenshots between Korean and Russian version of rewards. I'll give you a moment so you can pause the video and compare the images yourself. As you can see, Russian list is a lot shorter. Not only is it missing accessories and gear, but also quite a few of boxes and chests with rewards. They seem to have added the sailor contract, engraving book and a bit more currency to the list though. Next up, Giant's Hearts. They removed accessories from rewards, explaining that it was a way to boost their character's gear score way too fast, claimed that they understand that it's a controversial decision and that they'll keep track of feedback and keep talking to developer about this. I'll give you another moment to pause and compare rewards here. Once again we can see accessories removed, coins added instead, more sail designs for your ship, the card for 8 hearts was removed as well, engraving seems to have stayed the same. Mokoko Seeds next. She said that changes to this one are motivated by the fact that this content is secondary, well explored by player base with a huge amount of guides, and because of this they decided to change rewards to not force any players to do this content only for rewards sake. She also said that in her opinion rewards didn't change that much, but as far as I'm concerned, changes are pretty substantial. Another moment for you guys to pause and compare rewards here. Pretty big changes on this one. You don't get gold cards or crystals from this tab anymore. Even some ship items were removed. Mokoko Earring obviously isn't here as well. Instead of gold and crystals we get NPC affinity gifts, and amount of sailor contracts was drastically reduced as well, same as cards. Last but not least, masterpieces. She claimed that players that were worried about crystals missing from Mokoko's will find them here with a lot of other currencies. She said that most valuable rewards are the ones for masterpieces in Russian version, and they're the main motivation for completion of adventure book tasks. Another moment for you guys to compare screenshots here. Amount of silver and gold rewards seems about the same. There's 9 crystal chests in Russian version that aren't there on Korea. Sailor contracts and sail designs seem to be removed from this one. Engraving tools were removed, designs seem to still be there. After this, she addressed crystal rewards separately, saying that main story achievements will still award you with 150 crystals like in Korean version, 450 crystals for masterpieces, 450 crystals for level and expedition, and 650 for NPC affinity from NPCs Cillian, Governor, Beatrice, Idalin, Guilena, Pen, Rella, and Bastian. In her opinion, 400 Mokoko crystals turned into 450 for masterpieces, with 450 more added as part of expedition system. However, those of you who played Korean version might have a different opinion on this one. We've also got a screenshot of expedition level rewards that we'll get, so I'll give you guys a moment to take a look at that one. As you can see, it's mostly main stat boosts and some crystals in here. After this, she tried addressing Guardian power and removal of item level from accessories as well as Chaos Dungeon gear. She started with saying that they've provided detailed enough explanation for these changes on the presentation, which they didn't, just saying, and added that Guardians were nerfed because they're an important core feature of the game and developers wanted the broadest possible audience to have access to this content. She says she understands that hardcore players might consider this content not challenging enough and be upset about it, and added that they're ready to make change to tier 2 and up Guardians based on player feedback during early stage of open beta. She also mentioned that weekly Guardians are supposed to stay challenging. In regards to item level of accessories, she said that this change has worked well on Korea with the introduction of tier 3 gear, and this is why it was implemented, changing focus of character progress to armor and weapon enhancements. They're not ready to evaluate this change and it has both negative and positive consequences according to her, so I guess we'll wait and see. Chaos Dungeon changes were aimed at removing RNG, and the aim of this change is to pretty much force you to get a Crasium to enhance your gear and progress this way. She also said that author of the original topic is being hypocritical, claiming that at the same time there's too many items to enhance and there's not enough content. I guess she didn't get the memo that there's daily limit on how much stuff you can do. My games considers this change to be positive, transparent and balanced. Then there's a couple more words on NPC affinity, nothing new here, and the closing words are addressing the fact that they're expecting that most of the player base will not be able to hit tier 1 GearScore cap by the time tier 2 patch is released, and won't be able to reach tier 2 cap by the time tier 2.5 releases, mentioning once again that they're listening to player feedback. As you probably expect, this thread has started some heated discussion in the community, with a lot of players being very suspicious and claiming some rewards might have been removed only to sell them in the cash shop, So in a later post, she also promised to address this with a cash shop review thread, which will be our next topic. As promised, community manager have posted another thread on the forums on October 22nd with overview of in-game cash shop items and stuff people might be worried about. They didn't include costumes and so on in this one for reasons, but we'll work with what we have. First screenshot we got is crystal chests. As you can see, when you buy more than 1000 you start receiving some additional items as part of the package, slightly improving the value. As you can see, I didn't translate these fully because there's just no point in that. You will figure out everything as we go. Next up we've got Chaos Dungeon and Epona tickets for both dailies and weeklies, as well as Guardian Soul Catcher item. And items to instantly finish Epona dailies are also in the shop and on the screenshot. Now, one of the most controversial items in the eyes of community, let's call this one Brave Warrior box. You can buy only one of these per week, and Epona ticket inside is different compared to the ones on previous screenshot, with difference being that this one doesn't have a cooldown, meaning that if you have 3 of these, you can do 3 additional Epona quests on that day after already reaching your limit of 3 or 4 if you used the previous one. You can also get 5 Acrasium shards and a box with treasure maps. You can select 7 blues, 3 purples or 1 gold. Resurrection feathers are going 10 apiece with bulk discounts. Name and look changes for your characters are priced at 580 and 290. Then there's also this questionable potion that boosts your PvP honor rewards by 100% for 1 hour, 55 royal crystals for this one. Next 2 items you are able to buy only once on your account. First one is the Seeker's Box and includes 30 days of Beatrice Blessing premium account as well as crystal chests that will net you a total of 500 crystals upon reaching level 50. Next one is another crystal box that you can open at certain GearScore thresholds and will net you a total of 2000 crystals. Remember that you won't be able to reach 400 GearScore until tier 2 patch comes out though. On the following screenshot we have mounts, 580 star crystals for the first 3 and then 6000 loyalty bonus points for the turtle. Lastly we have contents of Beatrice Blessing. If you missed prices on it in previous video, they're on your screen right now, and the effects of the buff: free teleport, 1 additional sun emote for NPC affinity daily, 50% transport discount for ships, plus free naval speed, plus 20% luck in the ocean, 2 additional slots in Traveler's Book that have also been added in Korea as of today's patch, meaning that you will have 5 slots instead of 3. Aside from the buff, you will also get an assortment of items depending on time online in the game. For logging in you will get 5 30% HP potions, for 10 minutes you will get a chest with battle stat buff potions of your choice, and for 20 minutes a chest with food. For half an hour you get a small jade box that allows you to choose between 1 feather or a box with NPC affinity gifts. For an hour of Beyond Online you get medium jade box where you can choose between 15 minute 50% life exp skill potion, a set of life skill tools or a box with battle items. Finally, 90 minutes of playtime will get you big jade box where you choose between 5 feathers, 2 Epona instant skips, 1 additional ticket to either Epona Daily or Chaos Dungeon. Take note that the last 2 are different from the ones you can purchase in cash shop separately, meaning that having both will give you 2 additional runs instead of 1 since they don't share the cooldown. They have also showed the contents of Mari's secret shop and I will scroll through it right now, not all of it translated, but you're supposed to get the idea. And that's all we got. Can't say I'm particularly happy about some of the items in cash shop, however most of this could have been expected knowing cash shop contents of Korean version. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, I'm sure you have some. If you found this video interesting or helpful, leave a like, share it and consider subscribing for more content like this. I am Swiper, bye!